Hello and welcome to another quick crop video. Well, today we're going to look at planting a drill of seed potatoes. Now, I've pretty much finished doing this bed here, but I've left part of the trench open here so that you can see how it's done. Now, what do we have with us today? We've got our trench, obviously, and then we have our bag of seed potatoes, and then we also have a barrow of compost, which I'm going to use to enrich the soil a little bit. But let's have a look at that soil now and just see what we're going to add to it and why. Okay, the soil that I have is, well, it's okay. My garden is a fairly sticky clay soil, which I've been improving over the years. You can see it actually gets better as you look up through the strata there. There's more compost. There's a nice little earthworm. Now, what we need to do is add a good quality compost to feed the potatoes. What we're trying to avoid are materials which are too high in nitrogen, like too much farmyard manure, because that will cause the potatoes to what's called go into leaf. And it means they'll produce lots of leafy green growth fast, and that'll be at the expense of the yield of your potatoes. But it also means that that leafy growth, fast growth, tends to be weak growth, and it will leave your crop more susceptible to potato blight later on in the season. So what I'm going to use is our much loved EnviroGrind, which is our mixture of composted green waste and fish waste, and I'm going to line the trench with that. Let's have a look at some of that in the wheelbarrow. It's lovely stuff. We can see the lovely consistency there of the EnviroGrind there. That's what proper composting looks like. I've actually been to the facility where they make this, and they pump air up through it in special bays, so it gets composted thoroughly all the way through, gets very hot, so it kills off any weed seeds or pathogens. As I said, it's made up of green material, but also fish and shellfish waste, but because it's properly composted, there really is no smell, just a lovely earthy aroma, and our potatoes are going to absolutely love it. I'm just going to line the trench here. I suppose I'm putting maybe 2 or 3 inches of EnviroGrind into the bottom. I've put about maybe, I don't know, 6 shovelfuls in there. It's not critical. I'm really just creating a bed for the potatoes, and we can smooth it out when we go to plant, which is what we're going to do right now. Here's our seed potatoes here. Now, these are main crop potatoes. We can see just at the top here some little sprouts starting to form. I'm sure you've heard of the process of chitting. That's allowing the sprouts to grow, I suppose, about ½ an inch off the top of the potato. That's more for early potatoes and not so necessary for these main crop. But it's handy to see because it shows us where the eye, it's what I call the eyes of the potatoes are, and we can see that there are a few sprouts here at the top, or eyes, and there's pretty much nothing at the bottom, and we plant our potato with the sprouts facing upwards because those sprouts are going to form the new foliage of the plant, so it makes sense. Obviously we need to face up out of the soil. Now, as regards measuring then, main crop potatoes, they're 35 centimeters between each potato. I find this quite handy rather than messing with the tape all the time, is just measure a stick to the size you want. So it's 35 centimeters. We can get rid of the tape there and we just use our stick, and then we can just go along and quite easily plant our potatoes. And I'm just pushing them into the compost there. Really takes no time at all. I've pushed the potato quite deep into the EnviroGrind here, and that's because I want about 15 or 20 centimeters of soil above the potato. We don't want our seed potatoes too close to the surface because you won't get as high a yield, but also the potatoes, as they form, can burst through the surface of the soil, get exposed to sunlight where they turn green and become poisonous, and we're not going to want that. So the last thing I need to do really is just pull the soil back in on top of the trench, and we're pretty much done. Okay, so that's filling in the last potato there. Now, we do have to what's called earthing up, so when the foliage starts to grow we need to add more soil to the potatoes, but I will be covering that and looking after your potatoes in a separate video, so keep an eye on our YouTube channel. Remember, if you need any potatoes, rakes, in fact anything to grow your own fabulous vegetable garden, it's all available on our websites quickcrop.ie and quickcrop.co.uk. I look forward to seeing you next time.